Okay, I want to be cognizant of everyone's time, so we'll go ahead and get started. If anybody else joins, we'll let them in as we get things going here. But hello, everyone. My name is Tulsi Modi. I'm part of the Coalition for Global Health Innovation as their social media and event chair. Much of my background has been in the community healthcare in the US, but I am currently pursuing my MPH in global health at the University of Southern California. But for today, I will be your event moderator. So once again, for all of you who just joined, this is the Coalition for Global Health Innovation's first virtual event, Food Systems, Can We Sustain Healthy Diets? And Why Does Energy Access Matter? If you're new to the Coalition, we are a global nonprofit organization which empowers early career professionals to be action-oriented and bring innovative solutions to the field of global health. And today we have two incredible global health leaders here with us. So we have Charlotte Bunge, who is a PhD candidate at the Stockholm Resilience Center in Sweden. She focuses her research on assessing the sustainability of novel food system technologies and the transformative potential for Swedish food sector. She holds a MSc in public health from the Charité in Berlin, where she was active as a campus ambassador for planetary health, raising awareness on the interconnectedness of environmental degradation and human health. We also have Giulia Nicolini. She is a researcher at the International Institute for Environment and Development in London, where she works on food systems in agriculture. Of course, I sneezed in the middle of this. Giulia is interested in the intersection of food and the environment and the use of social sciences, particularly qualitative methods, to address key challenges which link the two. Her current projects explore the governance of food safety in informal dairy markets and the inclusion of smallholder farmers. Something is going on in global value chains. She also works to promote gender analysis and feminist approaches to research across the IIED. She holds an MA in the anthropology of food and has previously written and spoken about tradition, food, power, and memory in contemporary and historical contexts. So today's webinar is meant to be interactive. Both Charlotte and Giulia after they have given their presentations, we will hold a 15 to 20 minute breakout session for each topic, one for Giulia's topic and another for Charlotte's. And they will be happening simultaneously. So indicate in the chat which topic you would prefer, and we'll do our best to place you in that breakout room. With that said, let's get started. So first we have Charlotte, when you're ready.
So can you hear me all? Perfect. Thanks so much for the nice introduction, Tulsi. And I think I can't share, unfortunately, my no, I can share it. Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was a bit late to make you a presenter.
No
That's my fault.
At all. Yes. So one more moment. Exactly. Yeah, as Tulsi perfectly introduced myself, thanks again for this. My name is Charlotte and I am based in Stockholm now, but I'm German originally and lived in Berlin before. And I would like to talk about today a bit about what is actually sustainability, what is a sustainable food system, what is a sustainable diet, and what is actually a sustainable food product. Because as you might also have the feeling that sustainability is so much used as a buzzword in the past, and I think we need some clarity in this. So let's get started. First of all, what is sustainability? I would like to show you this small little video, the Stockholm Resilience Center where I'm working at. They've been doing this, and there's a bit of an background. So they are like, we have like 3 pillars of sustainability, which we're always using. It's the environmental sustainability, then the social sustainability, and the economic sustainability. And around that, we can actually like classify like the sustainable development goals. But while some researchers and some organizations might understand sustainability more like a triangle, the Stockholm Resilience Center really wants to have like that we have the biosphere as the supporting one, and then the social and the economic sustainability embedded in that. So yeah, so as you can see here, it's the biosphere, the society, and the economy. And then structured around this is like really, we have like climate action, life below land, life on land, and clean water and sanitation. But then we want to sustain or like reduce poverty. We want to sustain good nutrition for everybody. And then in the end, we want to have like responsible consumption and production, and of course, like stable economies. So yeah, these are our goals. And this is about sustainability. So, next slide. Where is it? And then, okay, what is a sustainable diet? There's one very common used definition about a sustainable diet from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, which is called sustainable healthy diets are dietary patterns that promote all dimensions of individuals' health and well-being, have low environmental pressure and impact, are accessible, affordable, safe, equitable, and are also culturally acceptable. So as you can see here, it's like also quite broad and super comprehensive. And I put this small figure here from the Eat Lancet report, where you really can see that like the food system is connecting like the environmental boundaries with the health boundaries, and that it's like super interconnected and has an impact on each other. And this actually leads me to this like super complicated figure, which I was like throwing this week actually for my work, because I was thinking, okay, so we have like this wedding cake, we have like environmental sustainability, social health sustainability, and economic sustainability, but can we really classify it? So, because it seems like everything is so kind of interconnected, and like greenhouse gas emissions, if you would like start from this environmental pillar, greenhouse gas emissions is leading to particulate matter and air pollution. And at the same time, air pollution is also leading to global warming potential, or even like also can cooling it. And then we have like, for example, eutrophication from like our food system is also leading to global warming. And then like these are the pillars, but then it's like we have particulate matter and air pollution, and this is of course like impacting human health, which can be measured with quality adjusted life years, like it's an indicator from public health. And so, yeah, I will not go into more detail about this, but just to give you an overview, like how everything is connected. And I could have like done way more of these hours there, but I did not want to make it too messy. And then like, how do we measure actually a sustainable diet? Because, okay, we now know that's like, okay, these are the indicators they should be having, but like, can we actually measure it? And there's one approach that all of us might have heard of. It's like from the Eat Lancet committee. It's been a committee of 30 researchers all working in that field, and they've been sitting together and we're trying to, how can we measure a sustainable diet, and how can we like frame a diet that could feed up to 10 billion people in the future and still like not transgressing our boundaries. And they've been like adapting this from the planetary boundaries concept from Johan Rockström, and like looking first earth system processes, climate change, land system change, freshwater use, nitrogen cycling, phosphorus cycling, and biodiversity loss, and giving some variables to it. So really some boundaries. And then also what they are doing is like this classical, nutritional guidelines that we are, like all countries are having this, and they are kind of giving another one. So and saying like what we should eat actually to to not transgressing these Earth system boundaries. So, but these are global goals. So this is like really big. This is like, okay, like the whole world should behave in that way, and then we are not transgressing boundaries. As you could imagine, that's quite complicated to say. So there are currently some approaches to downscale it to country level, because of course, like we have this, and as you know, also with climate policies, and now we need to have, while we are having global goals, we need to have like also local goals. So think globally, act locally. And one approach was from one researcher in Stockholm, Emma Mobeck. She was like trying to benchmark the environmental impact of the Swedish diet. And you can see here from what she was doing, she was like actually like taking a really, you could say simply approach. So what she was doing is like taking these boundaries that I've been showing you previously and really just like say, okay, 2015, there were X billion people living on the world. And she was like just dividing these numbers in through like the number of people living in 2015 in our world. So kind of like, okay, we take this equality perspective and imagine that everybody can like emit the most of things. I would really like to discuss this also later with you because I think it can be quite discussed, this approach, because I mean, of course, we know that like other countries haven't been emitting so much through their food consumption in the future, in the past. So there might be some things about quality here. But what you can see in this table, because like in the first row really gives you an overview on like how much the Swedish people or like the Swedish consumption of food products is emitting. And if you just compare them with the row below, you can see, okay, we are transgressing all these boundaries except fresh water use. In another more drastic visualization, this is like planetary boundaries, and you can see really here like greenhouse gas emissions from the Swedish diet are transgressed threefold what we should actually emit here. Okay, now we notice this is really bad. We can't continue like this. We need to reduce our environmental impact of our food system, and how could we do this? So there is really an urgent need to transform the global food system towards being more sustainable. And to achieve this, of course, like the whole food supply chain, really from production to processing to consumption and waste, needs to be improved. And in Europe, I don't know where you're all sitting, so I will give some European and Swedish perspectives here. But in Europe, we have like with the new Green Deal, like embedded in the new Green Deal we have for the European Union is the farm to fork strategy, where the European Commission really tries to give entry points to shift towards being more sustainable food systems. And one entry point is like at the sustainable food consumption perspective, because like allowing more like us as the consumers to consume more sustainable. And they want to develop a sustainable labeling framework that covers the nutritional, environmental, and social aspects of food products. So again, imagining you have like, you can go to the supermarket and have a front of food package labeling that really gives you an overview how your food product performs on these different pillars. And what you kind of need to have to do, or what you kind of need to do to give or to achieve the score is sustainable food profiling modeling as a policy tool. So that's like kind of the algorithm and the science behind these scores to classify and rank the foods for reasons related to preventing disease and promoting health and to reduce the environmental impact of diets. And I've been putting here 2 examples, one from the Oxford University and one from a French company that are producing these scores. And these scores are really like more and more growing in the past. Not only actually for front of package food labeling, but also really for public procurement strategies, for example, because if we are thinking a bit like these Eat Lancet diet that I was just presenting, if we want to downscale it and supply our society this kind of diet and nutrition, we could actually like measure like what we are supplying, like what kind of meals we are supplying in schools and hospitals, and make them measurable and just supply those kind of foods and meals that are actually like in the Eat Lancet diet. And it can also be used for foodware formulation regulation because it comes from nutrient profiling models, which is a very well-known policy tool, for example, like regulating what kind of baby food products should be marketed. Yeah, and this is really bad figure. I'm sorry, but what we've been doing, was we conducted a systematic review to see, are there actually these kind of sustainable food profiling models out there, and what are their characteristics, and most importantly, what kind of sustainability indicators they are assessing. And it was published just last week. And I'm so sorry for this bad screenshot. But just to show you on the right side, like the figure, what we can, like this is like the environmental indicators that they've been assessing. Like a bit more than half of the models we identified in our review, they also assessed nutritional indicators, and like 2 models also social indicators, but all of them were assessing environmental impact factors. And you can see here that like all of them were assessing greenhouse gas emissions, water use quite common, but then like, for example, like biodiversity loss was not so often assessed, as also air pollution and so on. And those of you who are working with food systems might very well know that, yeah, there's actually a lot of biodiversity loss occurring from our food production. So it would be an important indicator to assess. And why, again, is it so important that we assess environment and environmental sustainability so comprehensively? This is 2 screenshots from the website Our Worth in Data. For those of you who haven't seen this, I'm a big fan of them. They are doing fantastic work, also for Corona statistics, and really trying to visualize science in a really nice way. And they've been like taking from a big meta-analysis which was being conducted about sustainable environmental impact factors of food products, and like putting them in these nice figures. And you can see here, because like, for example, if we are talking about nuts, so nuts are really here with greenhouse gas emissions on the bottom, 0.43 kilograms per kilogram of food product, compared to beef, which is like nearly 100 kilograms per kilogram of product. But then if we're looking on freshwater withdrawals, nuts perform really bad because they're consuming so much water. So we kind of need to have a comprehensive sustainability perspective on this. And you might have heard about, especially the case of almond milk, like in California, like 80% of the almonds we are consuming worldwide are produced in California, and they're demanding a large amounts of water, which is leading to a decrease in their yields and to water depletion, actually. And that has been suffering important threats in the past 5 years. And to kind of sum up a bit, this is another paper I would really like to recommend you. And it's a bit about like, because also like you can see in the supermarkets now, they're coming like more and more these noble plant-based food products. And what the food producers there and the big food companies are doing, they're kind of using the sustainability trap, because they are saying, okay, we're producing here some new food products that are like performing better, like from the greenhouse gas emission perspective, but they're not necessarily more healthy, nor they're providing more social stability and sustainability, or they are performing also worse on some other environmental impact factors. So this paper is really a bit like shifting awareness towards this. I now sum up and would like to thank you for listening, and looking very forward to discuss later with you. And I would actually, when we're going into discussion, and if somebody of you would like to join me, then I would like to discuss a little bit like what kind of sustainability indicators are most interesting for you actually as a consumer, and especially maybe also like from the region where you're living in. And then also like how could we equitable downscale sustainability targets to a country level? Maybe we could also have some country level perspective for different countries. So thanks again, and I'm really looking forward to your Julia.
Thank you, Charlotte. Can we just make sure everybody is on mute? There's a little bit of feedback. Okay, we took care of it. Thank you. Thank you, Charlotte, for that thought-provoking presentation. I'm sure there are many people who have many questions and are ready to talk more about it. So just a reminder to our attendees to please indicate in the chat which breakout room you'd like to be placed in. We have one more presentation by Julia, and the breakout sessions will happen right after that. You can indicate Julia or Charlotte or energy access or sustainability, whatever you'd like in the chat box. With that said, we will hand it over to Julia Nicolini for your presentation. Julia, whenever you're ready.
Hi, okay, trying to load my slides. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Great, cool.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, thanks Tulsi for the introductions, and yeah, maybe the only downside to this event is that I can't join the breakout room for the other speaker. Sounds like it will be a really interesting discussion. Maybe another time. So yeah, a kind of idea that I'm bringing to the table today is where does energy access kind of fit into debates on diets and nutrition? And I think kind of a little bit of an overlap with Charlotte's presentation. Kind of the context for what I wanted to talk about today is really this shift towards thinking about food systems and thinking across different sectors which might have traditionally been approached in quite disparate ways. And I think, you know, there has been a noticeable trend towards thinking about how different processes and actors kind of connect and interact with one another in kind of across food and agriculture, and how these interactions shape environmental and health and social and other outcomes. And there's been a real kind of rise in interest in kind of systems thinking and sort of interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary research. And I think this kind of joining up different aspects of systems has been seen as kind of increasingly important to address these really complex challenges that we're kind of seeing grow. So yeah, I think kind of nutrition tends to be seen as a sort of outcome within food systems thinking. And within this context, I think there's been a bit of a shift towards how we think about diets and nutrition, towards more of a holistic approach. So the diagram, probably too small for you to kind of read in detail, but it illustrates a little bit some of the ways that experts have moved away from reductive approaches to nutrition. So thinking just about kind of individual nutrients and individual responsibility for nutritional status, to looking more at, you know, diets and this wider view of kind of what people eat, and also thinking about how nutrition outcomes and really shaped by, you know, broader society, so government policy, the actions of industry, and the sort of day-to-day context in which people eat, and that includes a lot of kind of social and cultural forces. So these are just kind of some examples on the slide of approaches which I think kind of illustrate that. So environmental nutrition kind of thinks about, you know, the links between those two, kind of says on the tin, and the One Health approach kind of links things like animal health and plant health with human health as well. So in the context of this shift towards kind of working across sectors, something that I've been thinking about with my colleagues in the energy team is household energy a bit of a kind of blind spot in current debates on diets and nutrition? And if so, how can we bring the two together? So I'm focusing specifically on household energy because I do think there's been already a lot of attention paid to how energy is consumed within kind of agricultural food production, and also related to things like transport, manufacturing, processing. So there doesn't really seem to be much of a conversation or as much interest, let's say, on household energy and how that links to diets and their environmental impact. And I think given the importance of the household as a space for food consumption, this feels like it could be kind of potentially an important mission. You might all disagree, can discuss that later. But yeah, and as the images suggest, the most obvious way to think about the links between the two is really through cooking. And in this context, we can think of energy as an enabler for food and nutrition security. So we need it to cook, many or maybe even most staple foods, including lots of foods that are seen as kind of essential for a nutritious diet. And I think we can kind of think of household energy as, especially within the context of cooking, as a really important factor potentially in shaping what and how people eat. So maybe taking a little step back, what I'm kind of interested in is, understanding cooking more as a sort of social and cultural practice. So Richard Wrangham, a biological anthropologist, had a theory that, cooking is actually what distinguishes us as humans, and also explains how we evolved. And it's kind of really deeply embedded in, human culture, and is something that kind of binds us all together really in a way. And it's strongly shaped by kind of social and cultural norms, beliefs, religion and rituals, also things like taste and pleasure, memory, tradition. So I think it's one of these things that's really multifaceted, but also like very mundane. Many of us probably cook on a daily basis, maybe more than once. And maybe that leads us to think that, we understand it better than we do because we all do it. But yes, also to highlight that it's highly gendered. The people who have their cameras on appear to all be women, amusingly, and I think that there is an issue within kind of all of these food spaces. A lot of they attract a lot of women for whatever reason, and actually I think it's quite important to keep in mind that when we think about diets and nutrition, it's a highly gendered topic, in many different ways. So maybe just to say, looking at the link between these three, there is a fair amount of research on kind of fuel access, particularly in sort of developing country contexts, and kind of the drivers behind how people choose what fuel or appliance to cook with. And there's all sorts of issues around kind of price and affordability, access, availability. But this research has tended to not look so much at kind of how these choices about energy really shape what people eat and what the implications are for nutrition. The little bit of work that does look at the links between energy access and nutrition, which I've put a picture of there, is mainly kind of in emergency settings or humanitarian settings, which I think is very important and often one of the most critical contexts in which to look at this. But I do think that it has kind of a much broader relevance as well. So yes, I think, and well, don't need to go into it too much, but some of the ways in which energy access can kind of negatively impact on nutrition is, for example, kind of underboiling of water or undercooking of food, or even kind of selling or trading food for fuel, or potentially switching to less nutritious foods which have kind of shorter cooking times. And one sector, I think, which could potentially be an interesting kind of learning opportunity, so there's a kind of I'm calling it a kind of grouping of experts and NGOs, government departments, private sector companies who have been working on household energy for cooking for a long time, which I've called here the cleaner cooking sector. I don't think they'll mind me calling them that. And the reason for this is that around 2.6 billion people globally still lack access to what are called kind of clean fuels, in inverted quotes perhaps, for cooking. A bit of a contested term, but the Sustainable Development Goal on affordable clean energy defines it as kind of gaseous fuels or electricity. And that's because billions of people are instead using kind of non-renewable biomass, charcoal, coal, or kerosene, which emit black carbon. And a lot of money has been spent on kind of designing these so-called improved or cleaner stoves, cook stoves, which usually kind of burn fuel more efficiently, ventilate it better, or use cleaner, different fuels. And there are quite a few different reasons why sort of NGOs and policymakers have been quite keen to stop people using these fuels. Initially, there was quite a big focus on the emissions from black carbon that are released when you burn these fuels. And in some contexts, kind of issues around deforestation, particularly when it comes to kind of wood fuel sourcing. But the list of problems that I think this sector has tried to tackle has really grown. So the next one is really about indoor air pollution. And as I said, particularly in a lot of kind of developing country contexts, it's mostly women who are doing cooking, and they're exposed to much more of the smoke from these fuels, which can lead to things like stroke, heart disease, lung cancer. And another sort of interesting problem that this sector has tried to tackle is sort of gender inequality. So in a lot of situations, women are the ones collecting the fuel, often in unsafe environments, and they're the ones spending quite a lot of time cooking. So the idea was, if we can kind of get rid of all that, then they'll have all this time and they'll be empowered, which is potentially a bit reductive. But I mean, the sector hasn't really addressed nutrition at all. There's sort of the beginnings of addressing this, maybe in some work by a project called the Modern Energy Cooking Services, which is the University of Loughborough and UK aid. But yeah, I think what we can take from the experiences of this sector, by and large, most of these interventions have failed. We don't have time to go into all of the reasons why, but I think in general, what's interesting is that they've taken quite a top-down, very technocratic approach, seeing a technology as holding the sort of solution to all of these different problems. And often there has been a mismatch between the kind of priorities of donors and NGOs on the one hand, who might really care about things like deforestation, and on the other hand, the people who actually use them, often women, who might be less immediately interested in things like deforestation and care more about, how long will it take for me to cook it, and how will it taste, and how easy is it to use and repair. So I think there's quite a lot here to learn from a sector which has tried to address these multiple overlapping, interacting problems around kind of environment, health, but potentially in quite a although it's attractive to say this one technology will solve all of these issues, I think in a way it's been quite reductive, the way that they've tried to approach it, and kind of ignoring how complicated each of those challenges is individually. So, the idea that using an improved cook stove could free up women's time, well, who's to say that they're going to use that time to, do something that they want to do, or, even if it is used for kind of, paid labor, who are we to say that's what they like? And I think the other sort of issue has been this failure to understand the kind of broader social and cultural context in which cooking takes place, and how energy use is tangled up in that, really. So, and I think social scientists have played quite a big role in sort of critiquing and trying to fill some of these gaps, including through a lot more participatory design of these stoves, and kind of, yeah, participatory interventions, and really looking at it from the point of cooks as well. So yeah, finally, arguably, I think this has potentially broader relevance beyond kind of crisis settings and kind of low income settings, you know, in a world which is undergoing different kinds of energy transitions. You know, in the UK, we've been talking about phasing out gas boilers in homes, but where's the conversation around phasing out, you know, gas stoves? It's going to have to happen. So yeah, I think that's going to have potentially really big implications for kind of how we cook and eat, and maybe something to start talking about. So that's it from me. Sorry if I went slightly over. I'll stop sharing.
No, that was perfect. Thank you, Julie, for enlightening us the access. We realized just a moment ago that there may not be a chat option for some of our attendees. So if that is the case, and you're interested in joining Charlotte's discussion on sustainability, then we ask that you use the option to raise your hand and keep it there. So everyone who wants to join Charlotte's, raise their hand. Everybody else, will put you into Julia's breakout room for the energy access. We're about to open up these breakout rooms. Each room will have a moderator and a speaker. It may take a moment or two for the rooms to open up, so just allow a little bit of a lag time. In the past, we've also had people not be able to see the screen when they join the breakout room. So if this does happen to you, there is a button on the next screen that'll say rejoin, and click that. And then right after, there's a little play button, a sideways triangle. And if you click that, you should be able to rejoin the room and see and hear. Okay, I see a few hands raised. Perfect, please keep them raised. We will do our best to put you in those rooms momentarily. But thank you so much again to both of our speakers who provided so much fascinating information. I think Julia said it best, that the only downside is that we can't join both rooms in this session.
I would really like to join yours, Julia. It would be so interesting.
We will, after you've joined your breakout rooms, we will come back together for just a moment or two to quickly summarize and learn what the other room had discussed. And so we'll do that. And Irene, are we almost ready here?
Sorry, yeah, if everyone has who wants to join Charlotte's, then yes, I can just assign the rest to energy access. I see there is one comment as well, and I've taken that into account. Yeah. All right, I'm ready to open the rooms if you're ready. Cool.
Do it. Just takes a moment or two.
Okay, that worked. So I'll just jump in and start the recording for everyone.
There's a unknown user in the lobby. Do you know who that is?
In the lobby? Oh,
Never mind.
it was
Fine.
Yelena.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was when she did her little switch.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, go ahead. Start recording.
Hey.
Hey.
Should be okay. And I think we're actually still recording, but I'll try and cut this at some point and make it nice.
Okay.
I think it should be easy. I actually thought I might join Charlotte's discussion. Okay. There weren't that many people.
Go for it. I'll stay here, and I'll send out actually, I don't think I can send out the message to everybody, can I?
No, I don't think you can. Would you like to join the discussion instead?
I'm going to stay here. I'm just like a little bit nervous that if nobody stays in the main room.
Yeah, okay. No, I thought I could stay, and then.
No, you go. I'm going to grab some water and I'll hang out here.
Okay. Which time do we need to send them back here? 5-2?
Yeah, I think that should be good.
Okay, so it's 10 minutes, and I'll need to be here a couple of minutes before. Okay, I don't think I'll join. I'll just stay here as well.
Yeah.
It will be a little bit too, yeah.
Back and forth. Okay, yeah. I'm going to grab some water and I'll be right back.
Go ahead, yeah. Hi, Michelle. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name right. Were you unable to join the breakout room? Are you there? Michelle, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, were you unable to join the breakout room?
I've just joined.
Which breakout room did you want to join? We've just had 2 presentations and then we are having dialogues in 2 different rooms. Were you wanting to join the energy access one or the healthy sustainable diet one?
The second one is better.
The second one, okay. I will assign you there and send you over. Just one moment. You should be able to join in just a couple of seconds. Hello, is it Hannah or Hanan?
Hello.
Hi, were you just joining?
Yeah, this is Hannah Noman.
Okay, well, welcome. So we're actually in the breakout rooms at the moment. We've had 2 presentations. One was about energy access and why that's important to sustainable diets. And then the other was more about healthy sustainable diets and what indicators we have for those. So okay. Which one would you like to join? I can assign you.
The health sustainable
Okay,
Huh?
the second one. Just
Yeah.
one moment and I'll assign you.
Sorry, my baby.
Oh, no worries. How cute. Okay, so in maybe 10 seconds, I think you will be headed over to the breakout room. I might have been cut in half there.
I'm glad
Sorry.
you said the main room.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, weird that people join like 30 minutes in. No, 45 minutes in.
Almost over.
It's interesting. Maybe people got the when you calculate another time zone and try to calculate it, as I did yesterday as well, mixing up the times. So maybe that's what's happened for some people. But I mean, it's fun that they joined the discussions at least.
Yeah,
Not sure how much they will get out of it, but
it'll be interesting. But also good that they at least joined, and hopefully in the future they'll be able to join again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's have like an email afterwards saying thanks for joining and sign up for a newsletter so to keep track of on what we're doing. And I also thought I've written some things down. I thought maybe we could have. That's when I thought, oh, people are joining like 5 minutes in, but now they're joining like 50 minutes in. So I'm not sure if it's so relevant, but maybe to have like a 5-minute thing in the beginning before starting the presentations with maybe a Menti poll or something like something to get people to interact immediately. And also to let people join so that everyone listens to the presentations at least.
Yeah, buys us a few more minutes to get started.
Yeah. So that's just a note for the future.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think it's going really great. So I'm so proud of everyone. And I think it's a great first event.
I think so. I hope so. I noticed I got really nervous halfway through my thing because I noticed that my father-in-law joined.
What?
Yeah. He's in the rooms and I was like, what are you doing here?
That's hilarious. Oh my God. What does he do?
He's a retired pediatrician.
Oh, well, I mean, he might be interested.
He this stuff. He loves it. And I was telling him about it last when I saw him. He's like, okay, send me the link. And I'm like, okay, sure.
That's so cute, though. Sounds
It's
very
great.
supportive. I mean, I don't think anyone in my family would want to join these events. They hardly know what I'm doing.
Oh boy, no, my husband was the same way. I was like, would you like to join? And he's like, no. That's okay.
You don't have to.
No, he's in the next room watching a movie on Netflix right now.
I mean, it's Saturday. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, funny. Yeah, no, I think this is great. Honestly, I'm really happy and really proud. So yeah.
I think so. I was really nervous that no one would join, but I think we have 14, 15 people now.
Yeah, something like that. So pretty okay. I mean, it's exactly what Julia said. So if 30 people join or register, then 15 will join. So we can probably use that as an indicator in the future as well.
Yeah.
And I thought we could also do a little bit more of like an application, like that might make it a bit more exclusive and see to it that people actually show up if they get selected by all that register. So we could try and do that in the future as well. We'll need a little bit more time than we had now for the registration in that case, because we'll have to check the people who apply. But I think that might be a good idea. I know I've been to a couple of those events. And they sort of select people to get the best dialogue basically going. So that might be something we can do in the future as well.
Yeah, I think that I don't know how we feel about charging like something small, like a $5 registration fee.
Yeah, it is a little bit, since everything is free, it's a bit hard to charge. But yeah, I don't know. We can definitely try. I mean, we're our logo, our slogan could be, if it weren't solutions, or what is it? From ideas to solutions together, it could be trial and error. I guess that's really what we're doing.
That's the like the VIP only access, like that's what it's called.
Yeah. Okay, so Ellen is having trouble with her internet. I'm just thinking we'll call them back in maybe a minute, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
I'm not being really friendly and whole sentencey in the chat right now.
Let me see if it's Charlie. If she's like in it, she's probably not seeing these messages. Okay.
So now it's around 2 minutes. When it turns 54, I'll send an announcement saying that it's 1 minute left.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
It's almost over.
I just said, write the first thing that comes to my head.
Oh boy. I'm excited to see what they're talking about. I'm so curious.
Yeah, me too.
I hope
they had enough time to get the discussion going. Sometimes it's a bit hard to kick off. So let's see. And I think we should have a meeting next week to go through everything and how it went. So we'll have the sort of lessons. Okay, I'm gonna send this. So we have the lessons from this one, so we can do that better next time. And also, I thought we could do like a little how to arrange an online event kind of thing for next time, like a checklist or something easy.
I was thinking about that last night, and I was like, man, if I had to do this all over again, it would be so easy, because I'd have like, or not so easy, but like at least I'd have the timeline of the checklist in my head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this is great to get to do as well, to arrange online events. Nowadays, I think you need it in every job.
All right.
Okay, they are writing in the chat. Interesting that I see it. Okay, so we're now 5 minutes left. Do you think it's okay to bring everyone back? Yeah, okay, I'll close the rooms. Let's see if they return.
Okay, I think everyone is coming back. Give another moment or two. All right. So thank you all for this interactive session. It sounds like both rooms had an intriguing dialogue. I'd like to have someone from a representative from each room give a brief, just 1 minute summary of their conversation. Perhaps someone from Charlotte's room about sustainability can go first.
Yeah, sure. I'll take the lead on this one, as I was taking a bit of notes on the side. So we were talking mainly about the indicators of sustainability, and then we went into the whole bio products that are shown as bio, but only parts of the chain are actually bio. and we ended up with a conclusion in the end before we were sent back to this room that categorizing sustainability means different things to different people, and it's probably a bit hard to define depending on the region you're coming from. But I think this is so from my point of view, this is a conversation that has some potential, and since we are here as global health ambassadors, yeah, I think we are also willing to take some decisions in this regard, or to help define the future for the future generation.
Awesome. That is a very good point. Sustainability can easily mean different things, not only just to different people across the world, but even within one nation. Good point. Can we have someone from Julia's room on energy access provide a quick 1-minute summary?
I can go if no one's going. Yeah, so we were reflecting on Julia's presentation, and it's very interesting for all of us to connect like the highly gendered characteristics of cooking with like the disproportionate effect of unclean cooking, for example, on women's health, right? Like indoor pollution and collecting the fuels. And we were also sharing our experiences, like depending on where we are from, where we are, like our methods of cooking are also very different. Me coming from China and then now in Egypt and lived in the Netherlands, like I've seen different kinds of cooking methods, and yeah, we see also it's a very cultural phenomenon. For example, Israel shared that in Mexico, like many places, it's very difficult to challenge the traditional gender roles, like how like a man cooking, that's like just difficult to think of. So yeah, like also we thought about like the NGOs having the top-down approach, but the cooks, the chefs are, like Julia said, like they're focusing on saving time, saving money. So it's a very interesting presentation. Yeah, and gives us a lot to think about in our own daily lives.
Well, that's great. That's exactly what we were hoping to get out of this event, is to start the thought process, begin having open-ended discussions. So it all sounds fantastic, and we at the Coalition hope you have enjoyed this event as much as we did. You can look forward to getting a dialogue report from us in about 1 to 2 weeks once we've summarized your inspiring discussions. And if you're interested in learning more, you can visit us at www.coalitionghi.org or follow us on Instagram at coalitionghi. We look forward to seeing you, all of you again at our future events. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to hang back. Otherwise, to everyone else, thank you so much, and have a good rest of your day, evening, morning, whatever it is for you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot for organizing and for giving this space.
Thanks for being here.
Yes. Mm-hmm.